For Thursday, August 15th, 2019. This is the Pro and Con Show. And I am your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show as always. So, try to do 10 or 15 minutes every day to encourage us to be better citizens, be better neighbors, better members of our community, and really trying to encourage that dialogue. Okay, we all live in one country, and there's a single set of laws. So if we're going to make those laws the best that they can be, we better darn well be talking to each other about how to do that. So I normally spend some amount of time on the show talking about the different information streams and the bias that's in there and so on. I'm not going to do that today. Today I want to talk about the definition of success, and what it's causing, our current definition, what it's doing to rip apart the fabric of our society. So there is a methodology for finding a root cause, and it's called the 5 whys. And basically, when you use this methodology, you say, okay, why is this thing happening? And then, so for example, let's talk about the disparity in income, okay, between the highest income earners and the lowest. Well, why? Why does that exist? So, and then maybe your first answer is, well, because poor people can't get jobs. Okay, well, why is that? Well, because you might say, well, because we have automated many jobs, okay? Or you might say, well, because we have consolidated, because of computers and stuff, we've consolidated organizations so much, and a lot of the premium jobs from 15, 20, 30, 50 years ago, middle management, middle level technician kinds of things have gone away because of these organizations getting flatter and flatter, because computers basically allow fewer individuals to fairly reasonably supervise greater numbers. And so, but then, okay, well, why is that? Well, why is because we have this definition of success. And the definition of success today is the accumulation of wealth, influence, and power. And there's hundreds, thousands of people in the country that they're these type A individuals, and they will do anything to succeed. Okay, so they're driven, and you know these people, and they're like the presidents of companies and our president of the United States, and actually very commonly, the president of the United States historically. Okay, all driven by this definition of success. Accumulation of wealth, influence, and power. It's what drives people to be king, to be senators and so on, the accumulation of wealth, influence, and power. And so it drives that definition of success, drives the disparity in incomes or wealth. It drives criminal activity of various kinds. It drives the use of our differences to divide us, like various racist kinds of things, or bigotry based on sexual preference or gender or skin color, genetic background or whatever. It's all of these things are driven. When you use the 5 whys, if you think about all the bad things that you don't want in our society, they're all driven by our current definition of success. And so what do we need to do to fix that? Well, we need to redefine success. I certainly have done that in my life, and in any way that I perceive others, I've changed and redefined success in terms of service to the planet and the people on it. Okay, this is my definition of success. And so I was reading an article earlier. It was talking about this particular article was saying that or forecasting, prognosticating that when Mr. Trump, when he eventually leaves office, and he eventually loses the support that he currently has, the article was talking about how catastrophic that's going to be, because basically people right now that support him are supporting him because of wealth, power, and influence, and they don't like him. Basically the inference of the article was that the vast majority of people that are around him, that are supporting him, don't like him, that he's an unlikable person for various reasons. But the bottom line is, when that starts crumbling and it starts to look like he's no longer going to have the power, to basically prop him up, then all these people that very much don't appreciate him will abandon him, and he will, end up being this decrepit former monarch, if you will. And one of the examples that they give of, and they talk about other presidents and how they actually, even though they suffered some dislike or disapproval when they were in office. For example, Richard Nixon, he went through the whole Watergate thing, and he was about to be impeached, so he resigned. But then he reformed himself to some degree in the public record by really focusing on foreign policy, and he actually became more and more popular after he left office on the basis of his foreign policy contributions. Jimmy Carter, who was a very nice man, he had the Iran hostage crisis during his tenure in office, and there was a lot of economic problems and stuff like that at the time. And this article stated, and corresponds with what I remember, is that people, really didn't think he was a very good president at all, and his popularity was very low when he left office. But then Mr. Carter focused his life on service, okay, service to the planet and the people on it, and he has done decades and decades and decades of really significant contributions, both just personally, individually, contributing to things like Habitat for Humanity and various, trying to wipe out, disease and parasites and stuff like that around the world. He's been a focal point of all this for decades, and the approval of Mr. Carter, and what people think of him, has steadily grown over the years, and he's still alive and he's still working hard. He's in his 90s now, I think. Still working hard, trying to help the planet and the people on it, and his popularity continues to improve. And